Xia was the strongest master in the world, capable of unimaginable feats that normal people couldn't even imagine. With just a snap of his fingers, he could turn a bright blue day into a starless night in an instant. These feats were as simple to him as reading a BC for a university-level student. Yet, despite his godlike strength, he suffered some losses that were beyond his power to reverse. One unfortunate day, Xia's home planet, Earth, was reduced to cosmic dust in a cataclysmic explosion. More grief was added to his life when the love of his life, his wife, passed away in a very violent accident. In her final words, she asked him to take care of himself, but also reminded him that if she ever finds out that he has even thought of getting another wife, she will hunt and eliminate him like a wild animal. Xia was extremely burdened by this loss, and also became disillusioned with the invincible yet hollow existence, which is why he slowly grew bored with his own life. He decided to break free of this cycle with the help of reincarnation, a path he had chosen but failed countless times before. To begin a new life, Xia sealed his past, stripped away his memories, and even dismantled his cultivation base before jumping into the vast void of reincarnation. He promised himself that he would persist, even through the fires of hell. An unspecified time later, when Xia woke up, he found himself in a strange world. But his mind was as blank as a homeless man who had spent the whole night drinking cheap alcohol. Xia finally emerges and walks the streets of this new world with a branch in hand like some old man trying to look cool. He thinks that if he has reincarnated as someone strong, he should be able to join a good sect and achieve an ideal life. Meanwhile, a line of young people stands before a gray-haired man to test their internal potential and see if they can become immortal cultivators. Xia soon arrives at this spot and casually asks the old man if he can test his abilities too. The gray-haired master questions why a beggar wants to test his ability. Xia is undeterred by this uncalled-for insult and steps up to the glowing ball. He then places his hand on the ball, and immediately a huge stream of dark energy surges out and soon mixes with a white stream of energy. The old master who was calling Xia a beggar a few seconds ago is shocked and realizes that this stranger has the body of an innate Taoist. Seconds later, a chubby man in a red robe and funny hat steps forward and offers Xia a massive amount of spiritual stones on behalf of the Meteoroid sect. Before Xia can respond, a muscular man with a comical mustache pushes the chubby man aside and boasts that he can show Xia a mountain full of spiritual minerals. Two other men in blue robes, carrying swords, shove the muscular man away and insist they want Xia, promising him magical weapons. An overwhelmed Xia tells everyone to calm down and thinks to himself that he didn't expect this much attention. He also notes that innate Taoism sounds like something strong, although he doesn't have an exact idea about what it is. Suddenly, two beautiful women appear and question why people of high standing are fighting over a mere boy. The other woman adds that if all these people are fighting for him, then they also want this shiny new toy. Xia recognizes them and wonders why the two sisters from the Demon Sect of Destiny are here. The woman in a skimpy red robe extends her finger, and a deep purple spiritual aura flows from it, enchanting the men in the crowd and silencing them. Xia notices that no one dares to speak in their presence and concludes that the Demon Sect of Destiny must be the strongest. He decides he must join these two busty babes who belong to the strongest sect. The woman in red wiggles her finger with a deep purple aura near Xia's face and declares that their sect will accept him, saying it is far better than these third-rate sects. After a while, the men at the testing spot come to their senses and seem to forget what happened moments ago. The chubby man with the funny hat is busy with a kid who begs to be accepted as a disciple to become an immortal. The gray-haired master thinks to himself and feels like he forgot something important. In the meantime, Xia wakes up in a different place with the two beautiful big melon sisters. He mumbles and asks where he is and if this is their clan. The sister in red calls him little brother and asks if he knows what kind of faction their demon sect is. Xia, nervous, stammers and admits he doesn't know what kind of faction it is. The sister in red explains that it is the demon sect of group cultivation and adds that his innate Taoism is the best quality for such practices. Xia screams and jumps away from the two sisters, questioning if their cultivation practice is based on morally good things. The sister in the red robe pulls her robe down seductively and asks what wrong could there be with it. The sister with purple hair, who is barely covering her chest, explains that with Xia's innate Tao body, the practice is far more effective and helps their dual cultivation partners grow stronger. The two sisters then press Xia between them, squeezing his face, and insist it is for his own good. They warn that if he returns to the martial arts world, Other girls will capture him within 3 days and use him until he dies. They suggest it is better for his beautiful sisters to use him first to avoid his inevitable death. Zia tries to make an excuse, claiming he is sick, but the sister in the red robe laughs and says they will treat him if he is unwell. Zia grows nervous and comes up with another excuse, declaring he is only interested in men. The sister in the red robe grows angry, grabs his collar, and warns him to be careful with his words, suggesting that being gay might lead to trouble later. She then moves close to him and licks his cheek like a hungry animal. Zia, disgusted, thinks to himself that when this is over, he must refine his morals and become a dignified young man in this new era, but for now, he has to give in. Suddenly, something strange happens as the sister in the red robe stops advancing and starts quivering. The sister with purple hair asks what is wrong and urges her to hurry. But the sister in the red robe is sweaty and says the aura in Zia's body surges incredibly, making her feel like she might explode. She describes it as exhilarating, then runs away, telling her sister to go first because her breakthrough came too quickly and she needs stability. The purple-haired sister jumps on Zia and marvels that her sister broke through so fast, wondering if the innate Tao body is that amazing, where even a kiss has such an effect. She then moves close and licks Zia's neck just as hungrily as her sister did earlier. Zia thinks to himself that the time has come for him to become a man, but complains internally that all of this is happening so suddenly. But then something odd occurs, and he notices the purple-haired sister has also suddenly grown quiet. Zia sees her flustered with red cheeks and tries to touch her, but she tells him not to and runs off, saying she will be back soon. Moments later, the sister in the red robe returns just as Zia tries to leave. She asks why he wants to go, insisting that what happened was only the beginning. She grabs his face, kisses him, and says it is time to drain him thoroughly. But seconds after the kiss, a wave of intense pleasure hits her and she runs away. Zia gets no respite as the purple-haired sister returns and starts kissing him again. Zia screams, but the sisters continue to use him as they please. The whole night passes, and Zia's cheeks swell from kisses, while the two sisters lie on the ground, completely drained. Zia thinks to himself that, in the end, they didn't do anything serious. He wonders what would have happened otherwise, noting he only got kissed all night to such an extent. He tries to wake the red-robed sister and asks if she is still awake, but she doesn't answer. He internally reflects that they didn't pose a real threat to him, perhaps because their levels were too low. He considers that if what they say is true, and he encounters more powerful women after leaving the demon sect of destiny, he will face even worse harassment. Zia decides that staying is not an option and plans to escape. Before leaving, Zia notices a ring and recognizes it as a storage ring from the ancient books of the Forbidden Land. He takes it, thinking it is fair compensation for what they did to him. He says goodbye to the sisters in his mind and immediately escapes from their sticky fingers. After a while, Zia reaches a jungle and wonders what his next move should be. He considers dual cultivation too dangerous for now and decides it is best to join a new sect. He knows that his innate Tao body makes him the perfect human cauldron and resolves to keep this a secret. At that moment, a burly man with a strange blonde hairstyle from a failed 2000s punk rock band, wearing questionable clothes with chest hair exposed, shouts at Zia to stop. He threatens to plunder Zia if he doesn't fight back immediately. Zia, exasperated, asks if the man is kidding and yells out that he just escaped. The big man tells him to shut up and dismisses any further chit-chat. Zia thinks to himself that those sisters caused this mess, and now he is angry. He clenches his fist, ready to punch the man, but instead offers the ring he stole from the sisters, pleading for mercy and saying it is all he has. To his utter horror, the big man refuses to even look at the ring. Zia insists it is everything he owns and invites the man to search him, but the big man clarifies he doesn't want money. He explains that he plunders people to satisfy his sexual appetite instead. Zia realizes he is in deep trouble and tries to run, but the big man chases him with a mace, attempting to stomp him. Zia thinks to himself that he doesn't like dudes and regrets not staying with the demon sect. Zia runs from the big man and pleads for him to stop chasing. The big man refuses and pursues Zia, swinging his mace to strike him down. The big man wonders to himself how this ordinary man can outrun him, a cultivator. He smashes his mace to eliminate Zia once and for all, but Zia leaps past the attacks and thinks he cannot outrun the man forever. He fears that sooner or later, he will be plundered from the inside by this big dude if this continues. However, Zia subconsciously and acrobatically dodges the big man's relentless assaults. After an hour, Zia reflects that they have been at it for so long, yet he feels no fatigue. He wonders if the two sisters from the demon sect caused this, recalling their claim that his innate Tao body makes dual cultivation highly effective. He considers that the kisses he endured might have given him power. Meanwhile, the big man senses Zia's aura and realizes he has reached a breakthrough, but vows to capture him regardless. He hurls his mace at Zia, aiming to hit him, and the weapon obliterates a tree into pieces. Zia dodges once more and hides behind a nearby tree, while the big man shouts for him to come out, mocking his cowardice. Zia thinks to himself that he narrowly avoided death, as his remains would have been scattered otherwise. He then quietly ponders what his next move should be so that he can make it out safely. Zia glances at his hand and notices the ring stolen from the sisters has split into two. He wonders if it reacted because of his breakthrough and decides to check its contents. He turns the ring upside down, and various objects spill out, including a red paper-like item. Zia catches everything and sifts through the items one by one. He identifies a paper talisman, notes a bottle with a pleasant smell, but dismisses it as useless. He searches for something practical and finds two more bottles with a pinkish fluid inside. He speculates whether they contain a drug and what this strange-looking substance inside might do. Suddenly, the big man shakes the tree Zia is hiding in, causing Zia to drop one bottle, which lands on the big man's head. Zia hopes it isn't poisonous, but considers that, given it came from the sisters, it's likely pretty useless. He jokingly thinks that if he can't win, he might as well learn to enjoy it, then snaps back to reality and prays for something useful among the items. He searches again and discovers a pink, rubbery stick-like object. Zia grabs it, believing it can be useful, and infuses it with spiritual power. He leaps from the tree, attacks the big man, and strikes him on the head with the pink stick. Surprisingly, the big man collapses to his knees and passes out. Zia reflects that he managed to control the situation and marvels at his energy, feeling a surge of Kai swirling through his body. He considers injecting more spiritual power into the pink stick, but decides against it, attributing its odd nature to the demon sect of Destiny's unrefined weaponry. He strips the big man of his gear, clothing, and equipment, mocking him for deserving to be plundered after trying to plunder others. Zia plans to find a town quickly and escape the demon sect's influence. He recalls that spirit stones can cover travel expenses, and that most towns have teleportation arrays, so he aims to locate one nearby. 3 days later, Zia arrives at the entrance of the Qingfeng clan, which is near a group of rocky mountains. A guard stops him and demands to know his purpose. Zia explains he seeks to become an apprentice in the clan, but the guard, irritated, tells him to leave and even doubts if this scrawny stranger meets the requirements. The guard points to a nearby notice listing the criteria for disciples, being at least 15 years old and at the Kai gathering stage. The notice warns that those who don't qualify should leave immediately. Upon seeing this, Zia apologizes, and the guard orders him to never return. Zia thinks to himself that he only started cultivating 2 days ago, and while he reached the 4th stage of Kai gathering, he doesn't meet the age requirement. Just then, a child notices Zia's strange attire and points it out to their mother, who tells the child to ignore him and move along. Zia then wonders to himself what he will do next. After a bit of thinking, Zia sneaks back to the guard and, with puppy-like innocence, greets him. The guard asks why Zia has returned back, and the latter puts the guard in a forceful headlock and shows him 2 gold coins obtained from the ring stolen from the 2 sisters. The guard, amused by the coins, suddenly begins to listen attentively. He remarks that hard work might compensate for Zia's recent attainment of the 4th stage of the spirit-condensing realm and lack of exceptional talent. He instructs Zia to wait and promises to summon the elder, but clarifies he cannot influence the acceptance decision. Zia expresses gratitude for the guard's help and feels relieved, thinking he made a small profit. He reflects that the gold from the sisters' rings prevented his journey from stalling due to a lack of funds. He believes his escape from the demonic sect ensures safety at least for the time being. Zia muses that his legend as an unmatched expert begins here. As Zia ponders, a young, beautiful, busty girl named Yuer approaches and sniffs him from behind. Zia recoils in horror and asks who she is. Yuer, snapping back to her senses, introduces herself and calls Zia senior, explaining that, since he seeks to enroll and appears older, the title fits. She adds that she recently joined the sect but notes Zia is the weakest senior she has ever met. This remark hurts Zia, who gets disappointed and says he will not disturb her further. However, before he can run away, Yuer stops him, sniffs him again, blushes, and compliments his scent. Zia, who is completely baffled by this, wonders what she means, thinking he is not a bamboo rat, and questions her intentions. Right at that moment, 3 large men, dressed only in underwear, appear and pose as if in a bodybuilding show. They warn Zia to maintain social distance, calling him a troublemaker for Yor. An old man with a funny hat and blue robe arrives at the spot. Zia recognizes him as the leader of the Qingfeng clan, Elder Pan, and greets him respectfully. He then introduces himself and states that he wants to enroll in the Qingfeng clan. The elder, who thinks Yor and Zia were making out publicly, comments that youth is great, but personal space must be respected. He addresses Yor, not Zia, reprimanding her for arrogance and recklessness, and urges her not to harass new disciples. Yor protests, claiming she found a good scent, but the elder interrupts, citing the sect's plans regarding ancient ruins and the need to avoid offending new disciples. He evaluates Zia silently, noting his lack of aptitude, but the old man recognizes his strength and seriousness about cultivation. The elder deems Zia teachable and informs him that he is now an outer disciple of the Qingfeng clan. He instructs the guard to escort Zia to his room later, but before they leave, he advises Zia to be diligent in cultivation. Later, in his new room, Zia wears clean white robes and examines the sect's provided items. He determines that basic techniques and cultivation aid are necessary, but finds the techniques too basic. He recalls that, before gaining a cultivation base, he could not understand such matters, but the forbidden space of chaos contained useful information. He clasps his hands, and a blue aura forms between his fingers. He affirms that joining a sect was the right choice and prioritizes raising his cultivation quickly. He then reflects on past events and feels like he has known Yor for a long time, familiar, but then quickly dismisses her as too popular and troublesome. Eventually, Zia mentally resolves to set boundaries with her. Suddenly, a knock interrupts his thoughts and Zia, who is busy cultivating, asks who is at the door. From the outside, Yor announces herself and requests to live with him and asks if it is acceptable. Zia looks at Yor for a few seconds, and she gazes back with shining eyes. He slams the door in her face like she is a bit loco and informs her she cannot enter. Yor knocks persistently, pleading for Zia to allow her inside his room. Zia responds that it will not work and urges her to return to where she came from. Undeterred, she bangs on the door with her hands and calls Zia her brother, shouting that she has something important to tell him. Zia hesitates for a while as he is unsure of what to do. He sees no other option as he knows she is not going to leave, and hence, he is forced to open the door. Then, he peeks his head outside and tells Yor that she has 5 seconds to explain why she is acting like a stupid child. Instead of coming up with something smart and intelligent, Yor once again blurts out that she wants to live with him. Zia insists it is impossible, but she starts to manipulate him by staring at him with big, beautiful eyes filled with sadness. Zia pretends like he has had a change of heart and smiles at Yor, then calls her a silly girl, and wonders what she means. He strokes her head like she is some sort of exotic pet and suggests that things will unfold naturally, implying her plan will fail. To her shock, he slams the door again and tells her to leave. Nonetheless, Yor refuses to leave and keeps on banging on the door and yelling that she truly likes Zia. The latter wonders if an older apprentice toyed with her affections and abandoned her, which is why she has daddy issues. Growing fed up, he decides to secure the door and find earplugs. Suddenly, a sharp blade appears near his head as a sword pierces the door. More swords, spears, and even a chained mace strike the door, causing it to tremble as if hit by an earthquake. Behind the door, chaos erupts as Yor has summoned muscular men who pound the door with their fists, shouting that Zia stole their sister and demanding that he open it bravely. Zia yells for the men to calm down, insisting he met Yor only today and urging them not to believe her nonsense. Overwhelmed, he falls to his knees and prays to the gods, lamenting that his first day at the sect has already spiraled into such a mess. Later, Zia allows the annoying girl to stay with him and is forced to sit with Yor, who hums an annoying tune, plays with a stuffed rabbit, and sings a nonsensical song repeatedly. Irritated, Zia snatches the rabbit away and demands she explain what she wants from him. Yor asks why Zia doubts her claim of falling in love with him at first sight. Zia wonders if she believes her acting, which fooled the men outside, will sway him. But without any warning, she grabs Zia by the neck and hugs him tightly. Yor explains to Zia that a pleasant aroma surrounds him. She admits she does not understand why, but his presence significantly boosts her cultivation. When she arrived at the monastery, she discovered that being close to Zia caused her spiritual power to increase at an unprecedented rate. This effect only kept on increasing as she stood physically closer and closer to him. She then questions whether he possesses a special spiritual root, and Zia pauses briefly to consider his response. He wonders if Yuer has sensed his true power, and thus decides to cook up a false but grand story. He discloses that he possesses the essence of a great Jasper immortal. Yuer, astonished, asks if he is truly one of the 36 great celestial Jasper immortals. She then shares that she carries the star essence of the 72 earth demons, explaining why his presence enhances her cultivation so effectively. After hearing this revelation, everything now makes sense to her. Zia laughs as he just managed to get out of a tough situation by making up a fabricated story. He reflects that his prior study of writings about essences proved useful in doing so. However, he then turns to Yuer and clarifies that this connection does not mean he is agreeing to assist her in her cultivation journey. He once again goes back to his old stance and insists she immediately leave the room. He wants Yuer to go out, and the misunderstanding with the muscular people at the door, explaining that no relationship exists between them. On the other hand, Yuer doesn't care what he is yapping about, and instead produces a ring and asks Zia's opinion of it. She describes the ring as containing spiritual stones, martial arts scrolls, techniques, elixirs, and weapons, offering him anything he desires. She empties the ring's contents before him and apologizes, noting it is all she has presently but promising more in the future. Zia looms over her, questioning if she truly believes she can buy him with such trinkets and demanding to know who she thinks he is. Yuer smiles sweetly and asks if her offer is not enough for him, and initially, Zia feels the urge to scold her, but the generosity of her bribe sways him. He bows respectfully, addressing her as a young mistress, and assures her that everything will work out. Yuer, delighted, expresses her happiness and relies on his continued support. Meanwhile, in a different location, two men play a board game. Lai, a short, black-haired, intense-looking man, loses to Ming, a slightly fruity man with long white hair. Ming teases Lai, asking why he seems nervous, and if it relates to rumors that Yuer entered a new student's room. Lai neither confirms nor denies it, but asserts he could track down this new disciple if needed. He adds a sarcastic remark, accusing Ming of feigning concern for Yuer, while secretly using Lai to eliminate the newcomer. Ming remains silent, thinking to himself that Lai is a coward. He reflects that, although others fear Lai, Ming's Xixian sect holds no such fear. Back in the Qingfang clan room, Yuer declares that now she and Zia will work together, but insists on 3 conditions for their arrangement. First, their relationship remains strictly business, prohibiting Zia from falling in love with her. Second, only she may touch him, and he cannot initiate contact. Third, he must avoid approaching other girls for any reason at all costs. She asks if he understands, and Zia, who has been collecting crystals, confirms his understanding despite not listening to what she has to say. Yuer, satisfied with their agreement, offers to share techniques, noting his current weakness. She presents him with 3 powerful techniques and asks him to choose one. She explains that martial techniques are divided into 4 stages by strength: heavenly, earthly, dark, and yellow. The first technique, a fire-type dark stage method, ranks among the best available at the Qingfang clan. Yuer notes that even 3 to 5 years of effort, there would not guarantee acquiring such techniques. The second, a low-level thunder-type earth stage technique, impresses Zia, and he begins to imagine its power. Yuer urges him to calm down and listen fully, revealing that her eldest sister gave her this technique to use as a bargaining chip in case she ever needed to curry any favors. It enables summoning, amplifying, and hurling lightning at enemies, accelerating cultivation, but also often proves fatal to practitioners. Even the Qingfang clan possesses this technique, but Yuer knows of no one who mastered it successfully. Thus, she deems it a scam and strongly recommends avoiding it. The third is an attributeless technique and focuses on cultivating as well as strengthening energy. After explaining all this, Yuer asks if Zia has considered which technique he wants to choose. However, like a greedy kid who puts his hand in all flavors, Zia expresses a desire for all 3, calling the limitation to one choice childish. Yuer labels him a greedy senior student and warns that he cannot pursue multiple goals simultaneously. Zia reassures her, but then asks why she has the lightning technique, which belongs to the Xixian sect. Yuer dismisses any further discussion, noting her elder sister provided them. Zia inquires if the Xixian sect, home to her sister, ranks as the area's strongest. Yuer questions if he misunderstood what she said and reveals that recently, the Qingfeng clan discovered a new stash of ancient ruins. Xia admits ignorance about the ruins, and Yuer teases that she mistook him for a spy from a great sect, to which Xia responds that he is merely a free wanderer. Following this, Yuer explains that the Qingfeng clan, despite its weakness, has attracted many new students recently due to the ruins' discovery. Xia acknowledges the influx but asks why Yuer enrolled, and she reveals that the ruins, which are hidden places brimming with treasures coveted by cultivators, drew her. To claim these riches, sects like the Xixian sect undermine the Qingfeng clan, with spies from various groups infiltrating it, all targeting the ruins. The Qingfeng clan, which is in decline, is forced to watch helplessly as events unfold. Xia ponders the ruins' significance, realizing that their allure risks exposing his primal essence. Yuer shifts focus, announcing that they have talked enough and must train. She mentions she has reached the 49th stage of cultivation and proposes that they advance to the next stage together. Xia asks if surpassing the 9th stage will break her internal energy source's limits. Yuer, surprised, notes his lack of basic knowledge and promises she will clarify everything later and suggests that he consult the Qingfeng clan's records. She assumes the lotus posture and begins cultivating, emphasizing that practice clarifies specifics. Xia, intrigued, examines the 3 techniques and starts training alongside her. He sits opposite Yuer, and they work toward a shared goal. Xia reflects that the 9th stage of Kai absorption forms the foundation for expanding his inner source's boundaries. He focuses intensely, having reached the 4th stage of Kai absorption, and aims to push his limits further. He deduces that the Yuer's current ceiling is the 50th layer of Kai condensation, which is why she is so eager to train with him. As training progresses, Yuer senses herself nearing a new stage, and eventually, she climaxes successfully. Opening her eyes, she finds Xia motionless right in front of her, deeply focused in meditation. Unable to resist his aura, she draws close and gazes at him with her big, beautiful eyes. Yuer draws very close to Xia, desiring to kiss him as she experiences an intense attraction, but suddenly blushes and hurriedly leaves his room. Xia remains still, only hearing the door open and close, but stays silent. Outside, one of the muscular men remarks that Yuer's visit to Xia's room likely means nothing, but suggests someone should clarify the situation. These beta males, who are part of the Yuer support union, vowed to protect Yuer, their little sister, until the end. They spot Yuer exiting Xia's room and call out her name, asking her to stop. Yuer, who wants nothing to do with these halfwits, looks around, asking what is wrong. Noticing her flushed face and disheveled appearance, they question what she and Xia did together. Yuer, acting strangely with tears welling in her eyes, insists nothing happened and, if that is all, she must leave. She flees quickly, leaving the men convinced she and Xia engaged in something inappropriate. They resolve to eliminate Xia and guard his door, determined to prevent his escape. One man even admits feeling slight pity for Xia and comments that he has an impressive physique. Unaware of the commotion, Xia studies scriptures inside and nears mastery of elemental knowledge. He realizes that absorbing enough Kai will allow him to break through his inner source's limits. He aims to reach the 30th stage of Kai absorption first, but acknowledges that his primal essence's effect on girls, like Yuer, may cause complications. Fortunately, Yuer restrained herself, averting a difficult situation. Xia determines that becoming stronger quickly is essential to protect his chastity. He recalls that Yuer provided numerous resources, including a stepless technique called the Unstoppable Path to Inner Freedom, which inspires hope in Xia and proves valuable. He begins reciting its principles. Freedom from doubt allows the heart to guide actions, shaping the world's perception, and a doubt-free heart ensures all beings submit, enabling the soul to break through the heavens with equanimity. After 2 hours, Xia reaches the 6th stage and marvels at his own genius, like he just did something no one has ever done. After 4 hours, he achieves the 9th stage and is astonished by his rapid progress. After 8 hours, he attains the 20th stage and begins to consider himself a reborn celestial. By the end of 3 days, he reaches the 50th stage, but reflects that, despite his strength, he had a lot of progress to make. He notices the room's walls cracking and concludes that it was likely due to his spiritual energies release. After 7 days, Xia remains secluded, while the men continue guarding outside. Finally, he emerges from his dwelling, upon which the men notice him immediately and accuse him of offending Yuer, threatening to destroy him. One man named Brother Mu rushes at Zia, aiming a fist, but Zia slaps him, sending him flying several meters into a stone block. The other men, stunned, fail to realize Zia has reached the 25th stage of Kai absorption, enabling such a powerful blow. Zia explains he asked them to wait, dismissing their complaints. He adds that he cares little for them and intends to leave. Another man, offended by Zia's boldness, questions if he understands the consequences of his actions. Zia challenges him to deliver punishment personally. The men grow nervous under Zia's cold stare, but he smiles, claiming he jests, and urges them not to worry. He points out that Brother Mu initiated the attack, and had Zia not countered, he would be in Mu's place. A man wearing a swim cap declares the conversation pointless, asserting that Zia struck Brother Mu, a fact undeniable. He wonders how this is possible, recalling that Zia, a recent freshman at the Qingfeng clan, should not exert such pressure, questioning if he imagines it. An elder appears among them, inquiring why they gather. Zia recognizes him as the master he met previously. The men eagerly turn to explain the incident while the elder observes Zia, recalling that, days ago, Zia possessed only the 4th stage of Kai absorption. Now, he struggles to comprehend how Zia's strength has grown so dramatically. All disciples greet the elder and bow respectfully. The muscular men inform the elder that Zia deliberately injured their comrade, Brother Mu, and 2 of them confirm the incident. They argue that, per Qingfeng clan rules, Zia should face banishment and have his spirit channels severed. The elder, with a disapproving expression, asks Zia if he truly caused the injury. Zia pauses, scratches his head, and considers his response. Although he admits that he did throw a punch, he also mentions that the fight was a 50-50 chance. The elder, outraged, demands clarity, questioning what Zia means by such vague BS statements. Zia explains that Brother Mu rushed at him with the intent to strike, leaving Zia no choice but to defend himself with a light slap to calm him, unaware it would end so badly. The elder turns to the man in the swim cap and asks if events unfolded as Zia described. The man apologizes, urging the elder not to trust Zia. But the elder retorts that these disciples sneak into the Qingfeng clan seeking glory from the ancient ruins, idling and scheming against each other, particularly targeting this mysterious boy. He notes that even he initially failed to discern Zia's true cultivation level, suggesting Zia employs a technique to conceal his strength. The elder declares the situation clear and summons the complaining man for punishment. The man in the cap attempts to justify himself, but the elder silences him, questioning if they think him foolish. He points out that clan law spares the defender from punishment, while the man nearly swore to a false account. The elder then asks Zia if he has recently joined the clan. Zia confirms, and the elder notes that Zia has not yet received clan funds. As compensation, he orders the 2 men to provide Zia with 3 months' worth of funds. Zia, surprised, questions if this is too harsh as he realizes that accepting the compensation means more pain on the backside, as he will risk ruining his relationships with other disciples. After reflection, Zia mentions that Yuer helped him significantly and requests leniency towards these other fools to preserve that bond. The elder praises Zia's nobility, but insists he accept the compensation. Suddenly, Zia finds himself unable to speak, as the elder seals his voice to enforce acceptance. The man in the cap attempts to protest, but the elder shouts, questioning his audacity and revoking his funds for a year, deeming useless those incapable of executing an unexpected attack. The man collapses, pleading that he dares not speak further. Zia considers the ordeal unnecessary and decides to leave quickly. One of the men angrily challenges Zia, demanding whether he accepts having a one-on-one fight. Zia sneakily questions whether they will abandon their comrade, Brother Mu. As he walks away, the men shout for him to wait, claiming their dispute remains unresolved. Zia realizes he has entangled himself in more trouble and resolves to find a place to hide. Meanwhile, the elder observes, thinking to himself that Zia displays wisdom in knowing when to advance or retreat. He regards Zia as a promising talent, hoping that Zia truly belongs to the Qingfeng clan. The elder also contemplates the ancient ruins' emergence, wondering if they represent a curse or a blessing. After the drama that unfolds at the Qingfeng sect, Zia goes away to Feng City to stay out of trouble. It is a bustling city full of hotels. The owner of one business calls out to people on the road, greeting them and asking whether they are here for a meal or to stay. Zia stays at that hotel for quite some time and concentrates on gathering his Kai. He holds several purple crystals in his hand, which Yuer had given him. As he meditates, he concentrates deeply, inhales, and suddenly, He reaches the 72nd layer of Kai condensation. He then opens his fist and sees that the purple crystals have turned to dust. Zia thinks to himself that his cultivation speed is too slow and wonders if he has reached a bottleneck. He also notes that many days have passed since he left to hide from those pesky King Feng people and thinks that he should return. Meanwhile, Yor is upset and thinks to herself that Zia is an idiot for ditching her and going off on his own for so long. On the other hand, Zia remains focused on cultivating his Kai. After spending several days in Feng City, he decides to leave. The hotel owner notices and says farewell, thanking him for his patronage and asking him to come again. However, this conversation is overheard by a group of punks dressed in fancy purple robes. As Zia walks along the road, thinking about his next destination, he accidentally bumps into one of them and immediately apologizes. But one of the purple-robed men grabs Zia's shoulder and accuses him of being disrespectful. The rest of the group starts surrounding Zia from all sides. Zia realizes the situation is bad as he notices the purple cloud markings on their clothes and remembers that these people must be from the Xixian sect, which Yor once told him about. One of them orders Zia to come closer, but Zia replies that he has already apologized and asks what more they want. He continues to think that he has never provoked the Xixian sect before and wonders why they are acting this way. Another member of the group shouts at Zia to stop speaking nonsense and demands that he come without question. Zia responds that since they are in public, they should act more reasonably. The purple-robed man ignores him and throws a devastating punch, but to his utter surprise, Zia dodges it at the last second. The punch barely misses and releases a burst of purple sparkles. Surprised that Zia could dodge the attack, the man notes aloud that a half-spirit bursting realm cultivator could actually survive a full-powered attack from someone at the heaven-breaking realm. He remarks that it wouldn't be strange if an ordinary person had died from that strike. Zia, meanwhile, thinks to himself that this man is incredibly strong and must be picking a fight on purpose. The purple-robed man then screams, wondering if Zia has some kind of body armor protecting him. Zia angrily responds, asking what they really want, but before he can finish, the man grabs Zia's collar and says that he wants Zia's body armor and nothing else. He adds that he might even spare Zia's life if he obeys like a good servant. Zia insists that he has no body armor, but the man replies that he doesn't believe him and demands that Zia remove his clothes and let him check the contents of his storage ring. He threatens Zia, warning him not to get complacent. Zia tries to buy time by claiming that he has someone backing him up. All the purple-robed punks are surprised upon hearing Zia's claim and begin laughing. One of them sarcastically asks who is backing him up and tells him to enlighten them so they can be scared. Zia thinks to himself, wondering why they are not panicking. He suspects that they may have already looked up his information. Realizing he cannot lie without thinking it through, he hesitates. Just as he is about to speak, the purple-robed punk who attacked him cuts him off and laughs again. Zia then gathers himself and claims that he is from the Tianyu demonic sect. Upon hearing this, all the purple-robed punks suddenly look alarmed as they recall the two busty sisters from that sect. The punk who was grabbing Zia's collar immediately releases him, clearly afraid, though he tries to put on a brave front. He demands that Zia show them the evidence of such bold claims. Zia pulls out a bottle he took from the sisters' ring, and it contains a pink fluid. He shows it to the purple-robed group and tells them it's up to them whether they believe him or not. He adds that he wonders what might happen if he were to accidentally use the fluid on a passing stranger. He explains that the fluid is an aphrodisiac gifted to him by a senior and remarks that they should already know what it is. The purple-robed punks become visibly terrified and decide to back off. One of them grudgingly says they will spare him this time. Zia immediately retorts, asking why they are acting as though they are doing him a favor, since he has done nothing to anyone from the Xixian sect. He then suggests that perhaps he should call for one of his seniors and continue the discussion with their involvement. The purple-robed group curses in frustration. Zia continues to mock them, warning them to be careful not to get caught while causing trouble, or else he will be knee-deep in trouble. Once they leave, Zia drops his calm facade as he looks frightened and spits out a little blood from his mouth. He admits to himself that the situation had been too close for comfort. He decides he cannot stay in Feng City any longer and needs to return to the Qingfang clan quickly. After some time, he reaches the gates of the Qingfang clan, which lie beyond a series of ladders stretching over steep and tall hills. Zia reflects on the earlier encounter, thinking that the Xixian sect members dared to attack him in broad daylight. If he hadn't invoked the name of the Tianyu demonic sect, he could have died right then and there. As he walks and thinks, he is suddenly stopped by white-haired Ming, who blocks his path and tells him to stop. Zia suspects that this might be another Zixian sect encounter. However, Ming simply warns him to stay away from Yuer, even if he is from the Tianyu demonic sect. Zia then asks Ming whether he was the one who sent those people earlier. Ming laughs and replies that Zia has no proof. He adds that even if it had been him, a small fry like Zia would not be able to do anything about it. Zia asks Ming why he is doing this, as the two of them haven't even been introduced to each other. Zia questions whether Ming is going too far to simp for a girl. The arrogant Ming doesn't care and asks that even if he is going too far, nobody can stop him. He tells Zia to kneel, bow 3 times, and vow to forever disappear from Yuer's sight, and maybe then he will spare him. Zia thinks to himself that Ming is not normal and decides it's best not to get involved with him, and starts to walk away. However, Ming keeps yelling at him, calling him a toad who dares to aspire to be a swan, and telling him to take a good look at himself. Zia replies half-heartedly, acknowledging that he is a nobody and sarcastically complimenting Ming for being the good one and being pretty old. This mocking remark enrages Ming, and he throws his hand fan with ferocious power. It slices inches past Zia's face, cuts a tree several feet away cleanly in half, and even grazes Zia's cheek slightly. Zia becomes furious and thinks to himself that the people of the Zixian sect really like ambushing others. Just as things are about to escalate further, Elder Pan of the Qingfeng clan arrives and intervenes. He angrily demands to know what they are doing, reminding them that fighting between disciples is forbidden, and that he's tired of repeating this rule. The useless old man scolds both of them sternly. Ming, dressed in the same purple robes as the punks before, bows and puts on an innocent act. He tells Elder Pan that this is all a misunderstanding. He claims that Zia, a young man with low cultivation, came to him seeking guidance, and that he was merely demonstrating a few moves. It wasn't a real fight. He turns to Zia and prompts him to confirm the story. Elder Pan recalls that Ming had been caught causing trouble before. Still, he decides to let it slide this time. He warns them not to do this near the clan gates again, and says that next time he won't be so forgiving. Ming expresses his gratitude and promises to follow the rules. As they begin to leave, Elder Pan pauses and questions their story, but this time Zia steps in and confirms that he did approach Ming for guidance. However, he adds that Ming is a coward who only seems capable of bullying the weak. Zia says that, with Elder Pan as witness, he wishes to challenge Ming to a fair fight on the main stage and at the same cultivation base. Zia mockingly asks Ming if he would be too stingy to offer proper advice. Elder Pan thinks to himself that Ming is from the Zixian sect and has infiltrated the Qingfeng clan, likely because of the ancient ruins. Though he doesn't fully understand the reason behind their conflict, he knows Zia will surely suffer if he goes up against Ming. Still, he remains curious about Zia's intentions. On the other hand, Ming starts laughing in agreement and even tells Elder Pan that it's rare to find a junior so eager to learn. He adds that actual combat is the best way to grow and to assess one's skills. Eventually, Elder Pan gives them permission to spar despite being reluctant about the whole deal. A few days later, the match is scheduled. The stage is set, and a crowd gathers to watch the highly anticipated battle between Ming and Zia. Among the crowd, disciples chatter about the fight as some express surprise that Ming is going to spar with a new disciple. Others recall that Ming is already at the half-heaven-breaking realm and wonder if Zia is at that level too. One of them scoffs, saying Zia is just a small fry who hasn't even reached the spirit-bursting realm. Zia stands on the stage, calm and expressionless, while the gossip continues. One person says the most important detail is that they're supposedly fighting over a woman. Ming taunts Zia, saying he may hurt him badly and hopes he won't cry. Zia calmly replies that he should return those words to Ming and hopes he won't be the one crying instead. The audience continues to gossip, and one disciple says Zia may look like an ordinary guy, but on his first day, he managed to get close to Yuer. Meanwhile, Yuer pushes through the crowd to reach the front and watch the match. The crowd recognizes her as the most beautiful and popular female disciple in the Qingfeng clan, with some mentioning that juniors even started a fan club for her. Yuer approaches Zia and asks what he is doing. Zia coldly replies that it has nothing to do with her. His rudeness makes Yuer flinch, and someone in the crowd mutters that the two definitely have something going on between them. Ming arrives and greets Yuer, pretending to be concerned. He tells her not to worry and assures her that it's just a spar. Yuer insists that there is no relationship between her and Zia. Ming leans close to Yuer, and she whispers in his ear that she hates Zia and wants him to be taught a lesson. She tells Ming to do whatever he wants to him. Ming grins and says that, since Yuer said so, he won't hold back. Despite the situation, Zia remains calm. Yuer then tells Ming that since his cultivation base is so high, he should properly suppress it during the fight. Otherwise, if he accidentally injures Zia too badly, people might accuse him of bullying. Yuer continues, saying that she just happens to have a pill that will help suppress his cultivation base. If he takes it, no one will be able to accuse him of using his strength unfairly. She says she wants to see his cool side as he gives it his best in the match. Ming takes the pill that Yuer gives him, ingests it, and returns to the ring to fight Zia. After some time, Elder Pan steps forward and goes over the rules once more. Both sides must restrict their cultivation bases to the spirit condensing realm. Most importantly, attacking with the intent to eliminate is strictly forbidden. With the rules clarified, Elder Pan signals for the match to begin, and the crowd erupts in excitement. Ming mocks Zia, saying he must be either blind or arrogant. He boasts that even though he is suppressing his cultivation to the spirit condensing realm, his strength is still equivalent to 40 layers of Kai. He questions how a small fry like Zia, who came out of nowhere, dares to compete with him. Zia casually responds, questioning whether 40 layers of Kai is really something worth bragging about. Ming laughs at him, calling him a frog in a well. He offers Zia the first strike, saying that otherwise, he might die without even getting a taste of the battle. Zia accepts the offer as he steps back, and blue energy begins to swirl around his fist. He clenches it and prepares his strike. While Ming is lost in his own arrogance, Zia launches a powerful punch that lands cleanly on Ming's face. Ming is sent flying across the ring and crashes into the ropes. Everyone, including Elder Pan and the crowd, is stunned. Someone shouts out that the match is over and declares Zia the winner. But Ming refuses to accept defeat as he claims Zia ambushed him, and that he didn't have time to dodge. He insists that Zia lacks martial values. Zia replies, "There's no need to be so picky." But if Ming insists on continuing, then so be it. Zia tells him that a certain saying fits him well and advises him to stop while he can. Enraged by the insult, Ming lunges at Zia. But Zia quickly dodges, and Ming falls face first onto the stage. He screams that Zia is courting death and accuses him again of ambushing. But deep down, Ming begins to question how Zia could have possibly injured him and why Zia is moving faster than he expected. Zia kicks Ming again, and the crowd begins to murmur in surprise. Some spectators start to suspect that Ming isn't as strong as he claimed. Others believe that Zia might actually be far stronger than he appears. Zia continues to taunt Ming, saying there's no need to keep fighting. Then he leans in and whispers a secret into Ming's ear that he has actually already condensed 72 layers of Kai. This revelation shocks Ming as he looks toward Yuer in the crowd and thinks to himself that even if Zia has 72 layers of Kai, he is still a small fry. Ming believes that if he raises his cultivation base slightly, he can crush Zia easily. Ming then secretly raises his cultivation base, which is against the rules of the sparring match, though no one notices. He launches a flurry of attacks at Zia, who narrowly dodges each one. Zia quickly realizes that Ming's strength has suddenly increased. He suspects that Ming is now using power beyond the spirit condensing realm. Meanwhile, Ming taunts Zia again, asking why he isn't acting arrogant now. But before he can say anything further, Zia counters with a powerful defensive move that takes Ming by surprise. In the crowd, Yuer begins to realize that the pill she gave Ming is starting to take effect. She wonders if she might have caused trouble by giving it to him, but notes that as long as he had suppressed his cultivation properly, there wouldn't have been any issue. However, now that Ming has gone beyond the spirit condensing stage, the pill is triggering unexpected side effects. Ming, unaware of this, glances at Yuer and thinks to himself that she is quite clever. It is then revealed that the pill Yuer gave Ming has unusual side effects, including ones that she might have intended all along. With Ming breaking the rules and Yuer's pill kicking in, things are about to spiral fast. Want to see how badly this ends? Comment "pill activated" for part 2. Like the video and subscribe for more chaos. Thanks for watching.